All right, guys. So elections have consequences, as you all know, and this is one very, very, very bad one. This is in Politico. Trump team eyes quick rollback of Biden student debt relief. The move would be the culmination of nearly 4 years of attacks by GOP lawmakers and attorneys general on Biden student debt relief policies. By the way, I get triggered by this. I know the proper way of saying it is attorneys general, but I prefer attorney generals. Just I don't like weird things like that. I'm a big phonetic spelling guy. Make it exactly how it sounds. Let's stop being silly. Anyway, I'm on a random side tangent here. But look, so I'm sure all of you know this, but there were multiple rounds of Biden student loan debt reduction, and he went about it in different kind of ways, and certain ones were considered legal, and then certain ones that were more wide-ranging were slapped down by the courts. But Trump wants to roll it all back and literally bring back the student debt payments and make them higher. That's what he wants to do. Okay, so let me walk you through this. President-elect Trump is poised to pull the plug on Joe Biden's years-long push to cancel student debt for tens of millions of people as Republicans sweep into power in the coming months. Trump's transition advisors and outside allies have been discussing ways to quickly unwind the various Biden-era initiatives that offered new or easier paths to loan forgiveness for borrowers, according to two people familiar with the discussions. By the way, what you're going to see here is it's not possible to unwind this quickly. It's not. Okay, here we go. The move would be the culmination of nearly 4 years of attacks by the GOP and attorneys general on Biden's student debt relief policies on the campaign trail. Trump slammed the loan forgiveness efforts, which totaled hundreds of billions of dollars, as vile and illegal to reduce student debt payments. By the way, a lot of other developed countries, there is no such thing as student debt. Just like there's no such thing as medical debt. It's not a thing. It doesn't happen. It's because people go, in a civilized society, what should be off the table? Oh, I don't know, your healthcare and your education? I mean, we have that in this country with education up until high school, right? Nobody says, you should have to pay to go to elementary school. How dare you? This is vile. No, it's a given in a civilized society, but no, not in this country. In this country, you have an all-out war on the commons, on basic things everybody needs. They continue. Yet his team faces a daunting challenge. A series of recent court decisions has left the federal government's $1.6 trillion student loan portfolio in disarray, with millions of borrowers stuck in limbo. Trump has nominated Linda McMahon of the WWE, the former head of the Small Business Administration, to be Education Secretary. McMahon has been co-leading the presidential transition and chairs the America First Policy Institute, an outside group that's been preparing for a second term. The group has blasted Biden's loan policies as unlawful, counterproductive, and deeply unfair. Yes, everybody in this country should be in debt up to their eyeballs for going to school. Jonathan Pidluzny, nice name, who directs higher education issues at AFPI, America First Policy Institute, is also working on student loan and education issues for the transition, according to people familiar with the discussions. It's going to be insanely complicated, said Michael Brickman, another good name, who was a senior education department official during the first Trump administration. You really can't overstate the mess that this new administration is inheriting. A federal judge has blocked Biden's second attempt at mass debt cancellation after the Supreme Court rejected his first plan last year. Federal appeals courts have frozen Biden's loan repayment program that offered lower monthly payments, setting off confusion over the amount that millions of borrowers must pay. And the Trump administration will have to decide how to resume the collection of defaulted student debt that's been suspended since the beginning of the pandemic. Let me repeat this because this part is super important. So federal appeals courts have frozen Biden's loan payment program that offered lowered monthly payments. They froze it, setting off confusion over the amount that millions of these students have to pay. And the Trump administration will have to decide how to resume the collection of student loan debts that's been suspended since the beginning of the pandemic. So remember, under Trump, he froze it initially, right? And he did some little bits and pieces of student loan forgiveness in certain instances for wounded veterans or whatever. There was a list of some groups that got student debt forgiveness. And by the way, it was fine when Trump did it. The courts were like, sure. Biden comes in and he tries to do a way more wide-ranging attempt at cancellation. They're like, no, how dare you? Stop it. But also, by the way, Biden also did some targeted student debt forgiveness and then eventually expanded it out. And that's when the Supreme Court was like, no, we're not going to let you do that. But it's been frozen since the beginning of the pandemic. Okay, here we go. Brickman, now an adjunct fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, said the Biden administration's misadventures around loan forgiveness that were repeatedly rejected by the courts have created a really chaotic situation that's going to have to be fixed. Again, by fixed, what they mean is, let's get these people paying us again and let's raise their payments. That's what they mean. Dismantling Biden's most sweeping plans for erasing debt is likely to be relatively straightforward, but other programs that affect millions of borrowers will be harder to undo. The Trump administration is expected, I can't talk today, to act quickly to stop defending some of these policies in court where they're already under legal challenge from Republican attorneys general. So in other words, the other smaller bits of loan forgiveness, they want to attack that too. But those were kind of upheld already. They're going to go after that also. Addressing Biden's signature student loan repayment program known as the SAVE plan will likely be more difficult. The plan, which the president finalized last year, caps monthly payments at 5% of income for undergraduate borrowers, offers more generous interest subsidies, and allows loan forgiveness in as few as 10 years of repayment for some borrowers. Republicans have criticized it as an overly expensive program that operates essentially as a backdoor route to mass loan forgiveness. Well, that's a good thing. Look, I told you guys what Biden should have done. He has the authority under the Higher Education Act of, I think it was 1965, but the Secretary of Education can do whatever they want with the debt that the U.S. government holds. The U.S. government holds like 95 or 96% of federal student loan debt. They could have just wiped that off the books. Clean their hands, wipe it off the books. That's it. You're done. It's over. Right? And then if the courts were to say, you can't do that, say, sorry, it's already done. We already wiped it off the books. No longer exists. We don't know who owes what and where that data is. It's gone. It's done. It's over. That would have been it. But of course, Biden, he has to split the difference and do it sort of like the neoliberal way. And like, well, we'll cap your payment at 5% and we'll allow you to stop repayment after 10 years. And like, there's all these good things, but you're doing it, you're taking it too seriously, right? Like you're being too nitpicky about this criteria and that criteria, thinking there'll be such a backlash if we just wipe it all out. No, there wouldn't. Just do it. Right? And he didn't. And now here we are. Now the Republicans are going to try to find a way to get these people paying again and get them paying more. Roughly 8 million borrowers were enrolled when judges froze the plan earlier this fall. 8 million were ready for this. As a result of the court orders, the Education Department has suspended monthly payments for those taking advantage of the program. Let me repeat that. As a result of the court orders, the Education Department has suspended monthly payments for those taking advantage of the program. So these people, right now, they're not paying it. Trump's going to get in there and restart it and watch his numbers plummet among these millions of people that have student loan debt, and we're getting some semblance of relief, or at the very least, their payments were paused. The second he turns that back on, it's just a tanking among the young people who have this debt. I'm telling you, Trump is going to butcher himself 14 ways to Sunday, doing wildly unpopular things. The tariffs, the mass deportations, this. When people actually see the impact of what he's actually doing, oh my God, it's going to be brutal. They say, but reverting those borrowers back to earlier, less generous repayment plans presents both legal and operational hurdles. Yes, that's the point, right? This is why I said, notice that, there's operational hurdles. If Biden just wiped it all out under the Higher Education Act, had the Secretary of Education do that, and just say, the info's gone, it's over. There's nothing you could do. We forgave the loans and that's it. It's that there's no going back. We don't have the data. We don't have the ability to go back. That's what he needed to do. That's what he needed to do. But instead he did some student debt forgiveness, not all of it, too many rules around it. And now they are literally going to try to dig up the information and raise the payments. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Trump transition advisors have been looking at ways to rescind the SAVE plan while also figuring out how to replace it with other repayment options for borrowers. The American people reelected Trump by a resounding margin, giving him a mandate to implement the promises he made on the campaign trail. He didn't say shit about student debt on the campaign trail one way or the other. But since he's a corrupt hack and a right-wing hack, he's going to do the worst thing for students. The loan servicing companies that manage federal student loans say they're bracing for changes under the new administration, but they caution that any major overhaul of the federal student loan system will take time to implement. Scott Buchanan, who heads the Student Loan Servicing Alliance, a trade group for loan servicers, said the coding and technical work to unwind the Biden-era SAVE program and recalculate millions of borrower payments under a new system could take months. It certainly wouldn't be an overnight sort of reversal. It's not a simple fix where the administration goes next. The Trump team also faces a decision on when to resume the Education Department's collection of defaulted federal student debt, which has been paused since the beginning of the pandemic. Good luck with that. In the run-up to the election, the Biden administration said it would delay garnishing the wages, tax refunds, and Social Security benefits of nearly 6 million defaulted borrowers until 2025, but the Education Department hasn't provided details on how that would work. Anyway, this goes on. But the Biden administration granted forgiveness to nearly 5 million borrowers, totaling more than $175 billion, more than any other administration. But they're going to roll it back. They're going to do their best to roll it back. This is what's going to happen, man. The worst part of what Trump is going to do, the worst part of what his plans are, if he just tries to roll back all of the decent things done by Biden in the economic sphere, we are in serious trouble. We're in serious trouble, right? I saw an article in CBS the other day. Some people voted for Trump thinking he was going to send them another stimulus check. He's running on austerity. He's running on literally the exact opposite. Not only is he not going to send you a stimulus check, he's also going to cut your social safety net programs. But the reason they thought that is because during the pandemic, when Trump sent out some checks, he slowed down the process so they can put his name on the checks. And some people saw that and said, oh, this is from Trump. And so they think maybe he'll send another one. And, Democrats, they sent out a bigger check, $1,400, but they didn't put Joe Biden's name on it. And they think it's highfalutin. Oh, we won't put our name. We're all Americans, and this is the way you should do it. But Trump's move worked. Like, some people got duped into thinking he'll send another check. He's not going to send another check. He's going to roll back the student loan debt forgiveness. He's going to do his best to roll back the project labor agreements that Biden did for 200,000 construction workers. That raises their pay. He's probably going to roll back that $15 minimum wage for federal contractors and employees. He'll probably try to roll back the gun reform, which was the red flag laws and closing the boyfriend loophole. He'll destroy the NLRB. He'll destroy the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He's already working on that now. God forbid he goes after the CHIPS Act, which has actually been successful, or the infrastructure bill, which has been successful, or the PACT Act, which gave health care to veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits. All this stuff's on the table now, bro. All this stuff is on the table now. Obamacare yet again. So here you go. Elections have consequences, and the consequence for this one is students are going to be really fucking pissed off, people with student loan debt, because it's about to get a hell of a lot worse. All right, guys, that's the show. Everybody do me a big favor. Well, first of all, I don't know. Happy Thanksgiving. I should have said that like 18 times already. I don't know if I did. But everybody subscribe to the channel, please. Hook a brother up. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who supports the show on Patreon. Thank you to everybody who tips with the thanks button on YouTube. The show would be nowhere without you guys. Would be nowhere at all. So everybody have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the holiday. And tune in tomorrow. We're going to do a very rare thing, very special thing here. We have an exclusive interview with Congressman Ro Khanna. He's going to spill the tea on Kamala Harris's loss. This is for Crystal, Kyle, and friends. This is a rare instance where you're going to get to see the whole interview on the YouTube channel up front, right? But do me a big favor. So we're putting this out there. Sign up on Substack below for Crystal, Kyle, and friends. You can either sign up for free and always get the audio version of the podcast when it drops on Saturdays, or you can sign up and pay $5 a month and then get the video of every interview the day of that it drops, which is Friday. So you get it a day earlier and you get the video version of it, right? You only usually get little clips of Crystal, Kyle, and friends as teasers, but we're going to do a special this time. It's an exclusive interview. We're going to drop the full thing with Congressman Ro Khanna. So hook us up and sign up on Substack. All right, guys, I love y'all, and I'll see you later. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.